Sankirtan ki jai. Okay. Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Giridhari Ju ki jai. So if you guys don't know, that's Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who is the avatar, Yuga avatar, means the one who comes for this particular age. We're in the age of Kali, and that's like the Iron Age. It's the lowest age, and people have tendency for deceit and so many different things that make it, not a very nice place to live. And so Mahaprabhu came to give us the Hare Krishna mantra as the Yuga Dharma. Gurudev. Anyway, he came to give us the Yuga Dharma and conveyed that through the course of about 20 years he spent traveling around India, chanting and speaking with people as the descent of Krishna himself. Of course, he was, perfectly well versed at every shastra, and he knew how to, combine the understandings of each shastra to come to the conclusion of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So all over India, he convinced sages and scholars, and when you travel India, even today, you'll find pockets of places Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even in South India, particularly in Bengal, but Vrindavan also is another place, and there are pockets all over where Mahaprabhu had that influence. So coming down in the line from Mahaprabhu, there's a line of teachers that descended through the centuries, and many of them left us many works about the nature of the development of Krishna consciousness from the conditioned material state to the the free, where you're free, transcendental state. And why is it freedom? Because in the highest state, all you want is for Krishna. So you get everything. Whatever you want, you get. And this is like our ideal in this world, but it never happens. You may get what you want now and again, or a lot of the time, but ultimately, that in this world it leads to frustration. In that world, the higher world, it leads to increased development of a loving relation with Krishna. That means increased experience of Sat-Chit Ananda, life, eternity, and Ananda, happiness, ecstasy. This really comes through the purification of the self, which happens at first and throughout the time, even in purification. The descent, the Maha Mantra comes to us through the lips of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then down through the line of gurus to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who's right there on the end. He was in India as a guru from about 1915 to about 1925. And he had two disciples. One was Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who, I don't know if you guys know him. Do you know him, Sandeep? Yeah. Okay. This is my Diksha Guru and my Harinam Mantra Guru. I got Harinam Mantra from Prabhupada in early 1970, and I got Diksha, or Gayatri initiation, in early 1971. And anyway, so Srila Prabhupada conveyed that mantra because Srila Sridhar Maharaj told he emptied himself. He had nothing except desire to serve his Gurudev. There was nothing inside except that deep desire. And through that connection with Sri Guru, one becomes purified and ultimately reaches Krishna's abode. So anyway, Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, was so purified that when he conveyed the mantra, it had a potency, unheard of, unseen in the Western world. And he assembled a group of disciples who, I mean, I remember when I joined, we would, get trained for a year or two, and I got married, and then after you were trained, you went out and started a temple. That's what you did. So we went to Cleveland and started a temple. And the temple's still there in Cleveland. I bought a big house on Euclid Avenue, which was the main street of Cleveland. I thought it was a great location, but it turned out it was in a very kind of heavy gang type area. But anyway, the temple developed. What was I saying? Do you remember?
Everyone who joined started their own temple.
All right, they started their own temple. And this is just a glimpse of what was going on. Srila Prabhupada had, boom, tremendous effect. And everybody was caught up in that power and beauty and mercy. It was just, and he had, at the peak, only about 3,000 disciples. But every disciple was, full-time, blasting away at Krishna consciousness. So when I first joined, we only had our Back to Godhead. This? Oh no, where is it? Ramananda?
1989.
Well, swipe. 1, 8, 9. Okay. Okay, there. So, anyway, when I joined, we had some Back to Godheads, which is beginning Back to Godheads, nicely printed and filled with directions by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And the only other thing we had to distribute, how am I doing this? The only thing else we had to distribute was this pamphlet called On Chanting Hare Krishna. And we gave it to everyone and told everyone, just chant Hare Krishna. When you get up, chant for 5 minutes and do it for a month, and you'll find your life will change. And so many people did it and came back and said, wow, this is different. What else can I do? And, it really worked. The mantra has power in itself, and it has particular power because it's coming from the line of pure Vaishnava gurus who are connected with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who descended as the Yuga avatar, who is Krishna himself. So Srila Prabhupada wrote the On Chanting Hare Krishna mantra, and we distributed it. So I want to read some of it and talk about what he means. The transcendental vibration established by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the sublime method for reviving our transcendental consciousness. So the transcendental consciousness is there within. The soul inside is sleeping. And the Hare Krishna mantra is like the alarm clock that wakes up the sleeping soul. It actually works like that. You begin to be stirred to consciousness. And what does that mean? You begin to think, isn't there some other way to live? Isn't there a better place to go? Isn't there some existence beyond death that where I'm not limited? People ask so many questions, but the Hare Krishna mantra will stimulate the soul to begin to awaken, and naturally, as the soul awakens, the person will wonder, why am I not in my right place? Well, why am I still here? Okay, as spiritual souls, we are all originally Krishna conscious entities, but due to our association with matter from time immemorial, our consciousness is now adulterated by the material atmosphere. The material atmosphere in which we are now living is called Maya, or illusion. Maya means what is not. And what is this illusion? The illusion is that we are trying to be lords of nature, control nature for our own ends. While actually, we are under the grip of her stringent laws. So everybody's trying to enjoy in different ways in the material world, but actually, the laws of nature predominate, and people are allowed to act within the context of the laws of nature based on their previous karma. The previous activities in this life or other lives, people are acting, but within the confines of material nature. And we learn later this is called gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, and then within each guna, unlimited variations. And you mix them all together and it's, you know, billions of possibilities. And those billions of possibilities come out in, you know, 7 billion people. And they're all different. You know, why is that? Because their karma is all different. We have explanations that nobody else has in you know, theology. We know why people are different. We know why someone is born beautiful. We know why someone is born not beautiful. You know, we just know, because this is given to us by our Gurudev, and not only by our Gurudev in you know, in verbiage, in words, but he's given it to us in the form of the mantra. You know, the mantra empowers the words of the Guru. Okay. Therefore, although we are engaged in a hard struggle to conquer nature, we are ever more dependent on her. The illusory struggle against material nature can be stopped at once by a revival of our eternal Krishna consciousness. So what he's saying is, we're struggling with material nature, but we're trying to use material elements in that struggle for our own purposes. So, you know, we're suffering in one place. So we think, oh, I just have to go to another place. And you go to another place. And same thing happens, and maybe you get into something that's causing injury to other people, or injury to animals, or whatever. So your karma increases by your increased contact with the material energy. So the Hare Krishna mantra is the transcendental process to purify the heart, and Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. It's a very important statement that Srila Prabhupada gave. In other words, most philosophy that we learn is poof, we put it in our mind and think about it, and it's reasonable or it's unreasonable or whatever, but it may not have to do with how we live. But Srila Prabhupada is saying, this understanding of Krishna consciousness is not like that. It actually has to do with your original self, the original soul. And by practical experience also, one can perceive that by chanting the Maha Mantra, or the great chanting for deliverance, one can at once feel transcendental ecstasy coming through from the spiritual stratum. So kirtan, we sometimes close our eyes and hear the mantra alone, or sometimes while the mantra is coming in, we pray, let me be absorbed in this mantra, let me be absorbed in giving myself to you. And in that mood, we feel the deliverance of the mantra. You have to open your heart, you have to plea, and then it will come. If you're just like, well, I'm going to check it out and see if it works, and be skeptical, the mantra will just bounce off. It works like that. You have to open your heart and give it a try. And it's very reasonable. You know, actually our proposal is very reasonable. There's a spiritual world, you can access it. You can't prove there's not a spiritual world. There's great saints from the beginning of time in every country, every social arrangement, every cultural arrangement. There's someone who's saying there's something beyond this. You know, so why is that? It's because it's real. Okay. There is no need to, therefore, to understand the language of the mantra, nor is there any need for mental speculation or any intellectual adjustment for chanting this Maha Mantra. So, yeah, there's no need, you don't need to know what Hare Krishna means. Just like when we read some of the books that are given to us by the great saints in our line, we may not understand the Sanskrit or the Bengali, but the power of the Sanskrit and the Bengali comes through to us. Now, why? Because the book is given to us and surcharged by a personality who's like, plugged into the transcendental electric current. It's alive, and it can light our lamps in our head, can awaken us. Okay, so no need to understand. Then Srila Prabhupada describes different symptoms. When one is really pure, he exhibits, symptoms of he's losing contact with his body because he's spirit. He wants to return to the spiritual plane. So the body actually ceases to function. And Srila Prabhupada describes the different symptoms of that. And then he says, the first symptom of this is the urge to dance, along with the chanting of the mantra. So this is like a natural symptom. It occurs. Like we want to get up and dance around because it's a free movement which coincides with the freedom given to us by the chanting of the Maha Mantra. So, so we want to dance. Of course, for one who is too entangled in material life, it takes a little more time to come to the standard point. Shrink it, okay? But even such materially engrossed man is raised to the spiritual platform very quickly. So, we're all engrossed in different degrees with contact with the temporary energy. Probably many lifetimes, we have no idea. But when we begin to chant Hare Krishna and begin to see, our soul and see the covering around the soul, it's beyond, it's beyond our capacity to understand it or possibly deal with it or break through it. And at that point, understanding that, we have to seek help. And the help comes in the form of Sri Guru, it comes in the form of prayer, directly to Sri Krishna, and it comes in the form of the mantra. The mantra is charged. If you do it right, it will enter your heart and you'll get an amazing charge, like Prabhupada said. It will hit even a person who's like engrossed in matter. If he hears the mantra enough, it has the power to connect him. Okay, then it has the greatest efficacy on hearers, and as such, this chanting should be heard from the lips of a pure devotee of the Lord, so that immediate effects can be achieved. So each one of us in this room has heard the Maha Mantra from the lips of Sri Guru, our Guru. And that mantra has come to us in a pure form, and it has, it stays in our heart. And it still may be covered because of our connection with the material energy, but it's there with full potency. And when we chant, in spite of the material energy, this potency is there. And, there's an element of, the nature of the entry of the Maha Mantra comes into us. We're covered with material energy, so it doesn't hit it as strongly. But then the element of mercy that comes from Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and our gurus also enters in and, helps to clear away this massive covering of material energy. There's so much mercy that's there if we just, turn and ask for it. And how do you ask for it? Chanting. Hare Krishna. Okay. So Prabhupada says, as far as possible, chanting from the lips of non-devotees should be avoided. Milk touched by the lips of a serpent has poisonous effects. So we have to be careful about hearing mantras, particularly the Maha Mantra, the great powerful mantra for deliverance. Do we hear it from the right source? If we hear it from some source that says, if you chant this and you'll become Krishna, then you know it's wrong. Or if you chant this, you'll get a Mercedes. Or, if you chant this, you'll become, equal to God and, merge into his energy or something. This is not accurate according to the personality who gave this to us. He came down from the spiritual realm. He didn't just manifest from the oneness of Brahman. He came down from a realm that is situated, he came down from a realm that is situated in Brahman. And that is the spiritual, beyond Brahman, rather, that is the spiritual sky. So, the word hara is the form of addressing the energy of the Lord, and the words Krishna and Rama are forms of addressing the Lord himself. Both Krishna and Rama mean the supreme pleasure, and hara, the supreme pleasure energy of the Lord, is changed to hare in the vocative. That's Sanskrit. Vocative means when you speak to someone, when you call out to someone in this case. Hare, from hara becomes hare, and that means the divine energy of the Lord, the energy coming from the most highest, beautiful, devoted, surrendered servant of Lord Krishna, and that is Srimati Radharani. And in her devotion, in her dedication, in her love, the whole realm of existence comes into being. That energy is the basis for existence. Love, beauty, truth. It's all these things. How do you define it? It's beyond definition. They try to define it maybe in this world, but it's really not definable because it comes from the spiritual realm. It exists there. So because this is a reflection, it exists here, but it's only temporary. It ends. So how do we, escape this quandary? How do we be with the person we love, not just for this lifetime, but forever? The chanting of Hare Krishna is possible to bring that about. Okay. Okay. The chanting is exactly like the genuine cry of a child for its mother's presence. Mother Hara helps the devotee achieve the Lord Father's grace, and the Lord reveals himself to the devotee who chants the mantra sincerely. And Srila Prabhupada ends with, no other means of spiritual realization is as effective in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy as the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, this is, again, Srila Prabhupada is the god brother of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, who is the founder of our Math. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was the dearmost god brother of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada told us that Srila Govinda Maharaj, who's the third there, from the right, Prabhupada told, he is my dearmost son. So Srila Govinda Maharaj stayed with Prabhupada in his house, near his house, above his shop, and heard Bhagavad Gita every day from him for, 7 or 8 years, long time. And, we know the power of Srila Prabhupada. Imagine directly with him. This had, an increasing effect on an already highly developed soul. This is Srila Govinda Maharaj. So, by the grace of these gurus, we have contact with this mantra, which will enable us to wake up from our material sleep. It has the potential to blast through the material energy and bring us to the stage of self-remembrance. So, I think we're going to chant now, if that's okay, David. Everyone can chant together, and let's go on for, what time is Arti?
Thing is one. I'm gonna more chanting.
You want to go for that? Is that okay with you guys? Okay. Oh, it's 1:30, so we have some time. Let's chant till 12 or so, and then Devashish Prabhu and Mahayogi Maharaj can tell us about the Mahamantra and, its amazing transcendental effects and how it works and so many things. Because by practical experience and by hearing from our gurus, we not only know intellectually, but we feel it, what this really is. It's a great chance, and we naturally want to give it. So, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Okay, who's chanting? What's the part from? Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Krishna Advaita Vigraha Vasai Gaura Bhakti Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare Bolo Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hare. Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaura Hare. Bolo Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hare. Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hare. Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hare. Bolo Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hare. Bolo Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hare. Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hare. Bolo Gaura, Gaura, Gaura Hare. Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari
Oh, Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. She's going to want to leave. Next, we have a kirtan now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Advaita Gadadha Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda
Shri Advaita Gadadha Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna
Next to
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare
Go Premanande.
Hari Haribo. Gurudev. So, Archie, still 1:30? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think, Ashish? Will you talk 15 and Mahayogi 15? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let Maharaj speak first then.
Okay, Maharaj?
No, 15 minutes.
Okay.
Speak for whatever. Yes, the power of the holy name. It says in the Shastras that for some causeless mercy, the holy name will come to you. You will find from Krishna from within, and you turn your heart, and from without the Guru will come to you and bring you the holy name. Every devotee has some experience of that when they were non-devotee. Most of the people are non-devotees, some experience in their life. Somehow, by some mercy, they come in contact with Krishna consciousness. I'm not going to read my story, but it's by some causeless mercy, because we're fallen souls in time. Yes, and when I was talking about the power of the holy name to penetrate the most dense layers of material coverings of the soul. And I'm reminded of that very profoundly sometimes when I'm on Harinam Sankirtan, and there's one Harinam Sankirtan recently. It was 2 years ago when we had Asha Maharaj here in Janardhan, we had Sripad Maharaj and many devotees around the world. We went on a Maha Sankirtan in Oxford Street and in central London. And the response of that Kirtan, where there are few devotees present, was quite astonishing. People joining in, dancing, singing. And one stage, one sort of very acrobatic person doing on his head, doing all these leg kicks, dancing in the middle of our kirtan. Even dogs joining in. I remember that very, very, very profoundly. So this is the power of the holy name. If we want the name to enter us and to dance on our tongue, then we have to have extreme hankering for that. It's not that we chant the bhajans in the program and that's it, and we chant a prescribed number of rounds every day. Today we are talking about immersive kirtan, immersing ourselves in the holy name. We have to try to do that all the time. I try to do that because I don't succeed, but I try to, if I'm walking along the street, waiting at a bus stop, I try to silently chant the name. I not be chanting on my japa beads, but I chant the name. Try to bring the Lord's mercy to me, and I intercede, and I ask my Gurudev to intercede on my behalf to actually allow that to happen, because it's through the via medium of Guru that we get the holy name. Another kirtan I went on recently was with Shanta Maharaj and Muni Maharaj, and it was one day seminar speaking on scientific Sankirtan, it's Darwin's theory of evolution, and giving the Vedantic Krishna conscious perspective against that theory. And to our surprise, and my great surprise, it moved my heart actually. The devotees met us at the station with a kirtan. We were greeted. We did a kirtan outside the station.
Where was this again?
It was in Canterbury.
Okay.
And there were people parked outside the station waiting, and all of a sudden, half a dozen people joining our kirtan. Suddenly they see it. And these people are obviously, very grossly involved, grossly attached, but somehow the name has penetrated. And this one-day seminar was advertised widely, and ISKCON devotees came to it, and various members of the public, and all sorts of ISKCON devotees joined in our kirtan. And it was like a different flavour to the kirtan that we had in central London 2 years ago. It was more like, it seemed to be sort of even more merciful. It seemed to be like the mercy of Nityananda was present. So we're chanting and chanting and chanting, and we're stopping outside pubs, and people are drinking outside, and we're getting them to chant. Some of them are reluctant. Eventually they chant, they smile, maybe they're a bit embarrassed, but the name comes out from them somehow. So this is the power of the name. It's what the Shastras say is true. It has the ability to penetrate the deep layers of material matter covering the living entity, the soul. But we have to really want for that. Again, one was with Shanta Maharaj. It's the effect of the devotees chanting over the years is very profound. It may take a long time for the material coverings to come off people before they become more engaged in Krishna consciousness. But we were preaching and collecting in Wembley, and on that particular day there was a football match. I think it was an FA Cup semi-final. I think it was maybe it was the final. I can't remember. Not so detailed or interested in football. On that day in Wembley Stadium, and they see us dressed in saffron, and we're not doing kirtan, but people are coming up to us and saying, I think Muni Maharaj mentioned, said, "Oh, give my regards to Hari," puts his thumb up, "give my regards to Hari." And another one says, you go walking along and his friends, and he says, "Oh, look, it's the Peace Brigade." There's a group of them walking along, and they say, "Hare Krishna," And another one comes up to me and says, "I'm standing outside the shop. It's a small shop. I couldn't go in and preach Shanta Maharaj, Muni Maharaj, but it's so small." He comes up to me from the side, he grabs my cloth and said, "What's all this then?" I said, "Haven't you ever heard of the Hare Krishnas?" "Oh, the Hare Krishnas. Oh, yeah, right. Hare Krishna," he says to me. And he says, "Well, I'm a Catholic." And he puts out his hand and he shakes my hand and says, "Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna," and he walks off. This is the potency of the name. So the seeds are planted. It may be that next lifetime they may come to it, or maybe later on in life, devotee people will come. So we should never forget that what we have been given and what we chant, we have to give. We have to be giving of the holy name, and we have so much opportunity to immerse ourselves in the holy name, but I have to say for myself, I've not realized I've not done that so much. So more and more and more, I try to immerse myself. I'm on the tube, I got my earphones in and I'm playing on my iPhone, in the kirtans and the chanting of just the Maha mantra. And when I'm not doing that, I'm trying to remember, even when I'm walking about, when I can't do that, to try and chant at the bus stop or whatever. I'm chanting Hare Krishna, or Chaitanya, or Panchatattva. What are we asking for? We're asking for the Lord to bestow His mercy, to make us His slave, His servant, asking to protect us, to save us from our folly in the material world, this world of birth, death, disease, and old age. That we really have to try for it. We have to try. We have to do it all the time. It's not just here. It's not just morning bhajans and chanting on our rounds. It's all the time. It must be 24 hours. Because the great souls, the great pure devotees, we have them there. Their mantra is going on in their tongue and in their mind all the time. It never stops. It's that stage we want to get to, so that we will get out of this material world, so we shut out all the thoughts of the material world. It says in the Shastras, I can't never remember when I want the shlokas, but we know that Yam Yam Smati Varam Bhavan Tyajatanti Kalevaram Tam Tam Eviti Konteya Siddhartha Bhava Vita. Whenever you leave the body, what you're thinking about. You may be chanting the name, but what is your conception? When you're leaving, you're thinking about something else, but still chanting the name. That's what you realize in your next life. So you want to be thinking about Guru, Radha, Shri Guru, Garanga, Radha, and Krishna. That's what you've got to be. It's got to be in your mind when you're chanting the name to get out of this material entanglement. So it's very important to strive towards that. I mean, I remember reading in, I think it's Living Search for the Lost Servant, of Srila Maharaj. He's saying, well, Gandhi was a great personality, great soul, in many ways, and he died chanting the name of Ram, He Ram, He Ram. But what was his conception? When he was dying, when he was in his mind, it was more likely that he was going to some meeting of he was going to a meeting of national reconstruction. He was thinking about mundane things. That's what Srila Maharaj is suggesting. If he's thinking that, then he won't. He'll still be in the cycle of birth and death. So this is how high it is. And so we have to really remember that we have to chant all the time and think of Guru, think about the Vaishnavas, think about serving, think about surrendering all the time. And we're not going to make great progress on the path otherwise. We only make small progress. I'll leave it there. I'll hand it over to Devashish. Hare Krishna.
Jai Mahayogi Maharaj ki jai. Prabhu.
Om Agyan Simanandasya Gyananjalam Shalakha Kapuram Naditam Jena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Sripad Sindhavev Chapatitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Mukam Karoti Vaschalam Bhangam Mangaite Sripad Shri Guru Digitam. Harinama, 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 Eva Kevalo Kalo, Nastyeva, 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 Gatiranyata. And it's in this age, this current age of quarrel and hypocrisy, which is known as Kali Yuga. There is no other way, no other way, no other way, but to chant the holy name of the Lord, chant the holy name of the Lord, chant the holy name of the Lord. One of the great Vaishnava Acharyas, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, he has given a commentary on this verse, and he says that it says 3 times, no other way, no other way, no other way. That indicates not by karma, not by gyan, and not by yoga. That means not by doing good works, not by developing your intellectual capacity or studying an ocean of scriptures, and not by performing yoga. I don't mean the yoga that you learn at the down at the community center where you do some yoga asanas. That is a very, the beginning of yoga. Actually, yoga, that Ashtanga yoga is explained by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. That is a process, an 8-step process for reaching realization of God. And asana is just the very beginning of that. But it means that in this age, that process also, Ashtanga yoga, that is not, will not give you the desired goal. Cultivating knowledge will not give you the goal. And by performing good work, that also will not give you the goal. Only by the chanting of the holy name. Specifically, Lord Krishna appeared in this age as his own devotee. In the form of his own devotee, he became Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to show the world the process for developing God realization in this age, which is Harinam Sankirtan. And he left only 8 verses of instruction for us. That is known as Shikshastakam. But based on those 8 verses, the Goswamis of Vrindavan and their successors, they have written volumes and volumes of books explaining that. And the first verse of Shikshastakam explains the 7-fold effect of chanting the holy name of the Lord, beginning with Cheto Darpana Marjanam, which means cleaning the mirror of our consciousness. Our consciousness is being described like a mirror. And when the mirror is clean, you can see yourself in that mirror. But if the mirror is densely covered with dust and other accumulated dirt, you will not see yourself. So first of all, first thing necessary to clean the mirror. So similarly, the first thing necessary for us is to clean the mirror of our own consciousness. And that's the beginning stage of the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. By sincere and constant chanting of that Hare Krishna Mahamantra, our consciousness becomes clean and the soul is able to perceive himself. That's known as self-realization. But beyond self-realization is God-realization. And the necessary qualification for developing God-realization, Lord Chaitanya has given in the 3rd verse of his Shikshastakam. And Srila Govinda Maharaj and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, they have both explained to us that for us, the practitioners, the aspiring devotees, that 3rd verse is all important. And everyone knows that. Trinadupi sunichena tororiva suhishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya shadahari. Here, the qualification for chanting the holy name has been given. So we hear many places, oh, when chanting the holy name of Krishna, there's no hard and fast rules. It can be any time, any place, anywhere, any circumstance, and that's true. And there is no material qualification that qualifies one for chanting the holy name. It is not the providence of only the priests. It is not the providence of only Hindus or people of Indian origin or anything like that. It is Lord Chaitanya's gift to the whole world. But still, if for that chanting to be effective, some qualification is necessary within us. And the beginning of that is sincerity. If we are sincere of heart, then we will be able to develop the qualifications to chant the holy name of the Lord. And what are those qualifications? That has been given in this verse. Humility, tolerance, and giving honor to all. This is Mahaprabhu's prescription. And what kind of humility? Humble like the blade of grass. There's nothing more humble than the blade of grass. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when he's commenting on this verse, he says that our position is worse than the grass. Because when you tread on the grass, it doesn't resist you. It doesn't push back. So, but our nature is when the Lord comes to grace us, we push back. No, I don't want that. I don't want it. I want something else instead. So this is our unfortunate situation, and this is why the grass has been given as the example. We should develop this kind of humility. But humility must be real, not a cloying kind of self-hatred or something like that. That isn't humility. And we see in what's that book by Charles Dickens, David Copperfield. In there's a character, he's called Uriah Heep, and he's very humble, always very humble, and always yes sir, no sir. But while showing that humility, he's always plotting how to get the better of those who are his superiors. So that kind of humility we're not interested in. Fake humility. It is not anything. In fact, our Gurudev, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, he used to say, too much humility is the sign of a thief. So, because that's how you can engender yourself with others, is by showing great humility. But humility must be real, and humility must be to the right people. Our Guru Maharaj used to say, humility to whom? Humility to the saints, or humility to the madman in the street. So you say, that humility must be genuine. And tolerance also. Srila Govinda Maharaj said, actually, of the three qualities, tolerance will give you everything. To tolerate everything. And if you drive a car, you can understand how intolerant you are when you drive the car. You're going down the road. I know for myself, I'm always cursing everybody. What, that stupid idiot, what's he doing? Then I understand I have no real tolerance. Can't even tolerate that the guy has pulled in front of me, like intolerant. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But we can, if we examine ourselves, we'll see how much of these qualities we possess. But tolerance, Srila Govinda Maharaj said, one time when I was with him in India, and I said, any message for the devotees back in the UK? He said, yes, you tell them they must tolerate everything, and tolerate until it becomes intolerable. So, and then that also they must tolerate. You see, this was something that Mahatma Gandhi understood. When the British came, they came with, soldiers on horseback, and they were his party. They were protesting there. Then they were expecting there would be a fight, a clash. So when they charged with the horses, and Gandhi said, "Everyone lie down on the ground." And everyone lay down on the ground, so the horses will not trample you. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what happened. So rather than, rising to the confrontation, they just lay down on the ground. By tolerance. And the British didn't know what to do about it. They'd never encountered that. They were squaring up for a fight. There's no fight. This is Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, anyone will come to fight with you, then they'll find that they're just shadow boxing. They're fighting with their own shadow, if you're not there to fight with them. So tolerance, by tolerance, we will get everything. And what kind of tolerance? That is also told, they're tolerant like a tree. Tree is given as the example of tolerance, because whatever you do to the tree, it never complains. You can carve your name in the tree, it won't protest. You can cut its branches off, it won't protest. You can even chop it down, and while you're chopping it down, it'll still give its shade to you. This is the example in the scripture of tolerance. So tolerant like the tree. And a tree can stand for so many hundreds of years and tolerate. Tolerates all kinds of weather, environmental disturbance, everything, it'll just stand without protesting. So this is the type of tolerance we try to develop. That whatever comes in our front, we'll tolerate that. Taktenu kampayashu shamikshamanu. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam. It means whatever comes to me, I understand that that's what's meant to come to me. That although it may appear to be something adversarial, actually it is the will of the Lord. And if I can take it in that way, then I can learn a valuable lesson from that. So humility, tolerance, and then to give honor to others. And maybe this is the most difficult thing. You see, we have this terrible nature, human beings, that we like to see other people fail. When we see somebody to attempt something and they fail, we take joy in that. The newspapers are full of that, aren't they? You know, they build somebody up and then they do something wrong and they love to smash them down. Oh yeah, we see, look what he did, look what he did. And people lap it up. Yeah, you see. That makes them feel better about themselves. They say, you know, make yourself seem taller by cutting off everybody else's head. But actually it's counterproductive. So we are advised by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give honor to others, to be respectful to others, to try to see the goodness in others. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the humble sage, he sees the dog eater, the tree, the cow, the Brahmin, all as equal, because he knows that dwelling in the heart of all of them, the Lord is there in their heart. So this is the beginning of being able to give honor to others, when we recognize the Lord is in their heart. When Indian people, especially when they greet each other, they say Namaste. And Namaste means I honor your spiritual nature, I honor with my spiritual nature. Something like that. There are many meanings, but this is one meaning. So this way, we try to give honor to others. And actually in Indian culture it's very nice. You see that that's almost part of their culture. Is very prevalent there. I've seen, not always, I mean, I'm not say it's perfect culture or anything, but I've seen that, you know, when you're traveling on the train sometimes, people fighting over the seat, right? But not fighting to say, no, it's my seat, but fighting to say, no, you sit. And he's saying, no, you sit. And this way, but the opposite. Not like, no, this is my seat, yeah, get out. No, the opposite of that. This is a small example, but to give honor to others. And the only way that you can actually practice all these three is not to expect any honor for yourself. As soon as you think that you are honorable, that you are worthy of honor, that you are in some higher position to those that you relate to, then none of that becomes possible for you. You will become disqualified immediately. Humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others, disqualified. Because as long as you hanker for recognition and honor and respect and all of those things, you cannot be humble, you cannot be tolerant, and you cannot give honor to others. This is Mahaprabhu has taught that, and he has taught that who will practice these things, they will be able to chant the holy name of Krishna constantly. That is the qualification. Krishna does not hear the chant of those who do not practice humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others. It is just a sound. Anyone can make the sound, but for the sound to be heart touching, for the sound to be the Shabda Brahma, that means what is descended from the spiritual world, for us to be the receivers of that. Srila Govinda Maharaj used to say, you have to make yourself a proper receiver. So like with the radio, you can tune the radio. Just now, like now, there's so many sound vibrations traveling in the ether, but we can't hear them. But if you've got a receiver and you tune it to the right frequency, So then you can hear, Radio 1, Radio 2, like so many radio stations. It's just a matter of having a proper receiver. So similarly, the transmission from the spiritual world is always going on. Only we have to make ourselves a proper receiver for that. And how to be a proper receiver? By practicing humility, tolerance, and giving honor to all. So, and this is concomitant with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. The influence of the holy name of the Lord, the chant of the holy name, will engender in us feelings of humility, feeling of tolerance, and feeling of honor to all. So it's a progressive thing. It's a work in progress. It's not that we say, well, until you're completely humble, completely tolerant, and can give honor to others perfectly, you don't chant the holy name of Krishna.
You don't need to chant rounds.
then we would never do anything, isn't it? So Srila Govinda Maharaj said, even, like, you may not be a doctor, or, fully qualified doctor, but if you're in a situation where somebody's suffering, and you know how to help them, you wouldn't say, well, I am studying medicine, but I've got another 4 years and clinical practice to undertake. I'll come back and see you then. No, like with what you have in your hand now, you'll try to help, isn't it? Or if you see somebody drowning in the river, if you can swim a little bit, you'll jump in. You won't say, I haven't got my life-saving certificate yet. You'll jump and you'll try and help. So with whatever small capital we have, we can try to help others. And similarly, however disqualified we may be, we can simply try to chant the holy name of the Lord. And if our prayer to Him is sincere, then those qualities of humility, tolerance, and honoring others will manifest in us. It is not that those teachings are meant as a stick for beating others. Oh, he is not humble, he is not tolerant, he is not giving honor to me. And how they are telling they are devotee. No. The teaching is for us, not for judging others, but rather it is for us to practice. That's why Srila Govinda Maharaj used to say, my religion is finding fault with myself. So we are to try to see what is our faults, as much as possible. We are always very deluded in thinking we are faultless. But the greatest fault is to think that we have no faults. But we are full of faults. We are all, because we live in the faulty plane. This is the faulty plane. Then nothing and no one is perfect in this world. But still we have that tendency to strive towards perfection. It is a human trait. So we can try, and if our aim is sincere, if our attempt is sincere, then the Lord will extend His help to us. And by that chanting of the holy name with sincerity, and trying our best to practice humility, tolerance, and to give honor to others, and trying our best not to desire those things for ourselves, we can progress in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and we can become immersed in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. They go hand in hand. This is some like meditation for us to think when we are trying to chant Krishna's holy name, and when we are joining in the Sankirtan. We are to try to humbly receive that, with tolerance receive that, and with honor to all receive that, and to try to leave off our desire for honor for our own self. This way our success in spiritual life will be guaranteed. So this is how we should chant the holy name of the Lord. And the holy name of the Lord, power of the holy name of the Lord itself will help us in this regard. Nama Sankirtan ki jai.
Joy.
Param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Hare Krishna.
Sripad Devashish Das Adhikari ki jai.
Now time for arti, yeah?
Yeah, what's going on with our team? Coming. Why don't we chant a little bit?
Who's our pujari? Is our